Hey folks, welcome to Market Technical Analysis by InTheMoneyStocks.com, your leaders in pure technical analysis, avoiding all that Wall Street hype. Today, Wednesday, May 7th, 2008. Well, as we get into today's video, folks, we're going to discuss a little bit about the fall today in the markets and how it pertained to the topping out pattern that we had seen in the markets, along with the turn date, which was a precise timing pattern that we had calculated in the market before it moved down. And again, those of you that have been with us and following our videos, you know ever since basically about a week and a half to 2 weeks ago, we've been warning about the May 2nd, which was last Friday, to May 5th and 6th as being a turn date. It's a key turn date. And again, to define a turn date, what a turn date basically is a change in polarity. And what happens in a change of polarity, basically, whichever way you're going, you cease going that way. So in other words, since InTheMoneyStocks.com had called for the rally off of the Bear Stearns news a while back, and we've gotten a monster rally, InTheMoneyStocks.com, and in these videos, we gave a new turn date based on the last few days, which would change the polarity of the markets. And sure enough, what we saw today was the ensuing fall following that change in polarity, which was, again, the market ceasing to go up over the last few days. We saw that choppy trading, faking out the amateur longs yesterday and the day before, getting some shorts on board and then faking them out yesterday, as we talked about. And again, then today, yielding the hard sell-off in the markets. And just to go over the indexes before we get in the charts, we saw the Dow down 206 points, the NASDAQ down 45, and the S&P down 26 points. This was all between 1.6 and 1.8% drop, which is a very, very sizable drop in the markets. So again, a beautiful fall today. We had been anticipating this. We had loaded the boat on this, and those in the chat room know and participated in the fall today, and it was a fun time, guys. Whenever we get this, it's a lot of fun because we've been expecting it. We've all positioned ourselves to take advantage of that, and so we did. So let's go into the charts today, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the Intra Day ES chart, and you're looking right here now at the 10-minute period on the intraday ES, and the ES is basically mirroring the S&P intraday moves today, so we can kind of follow the market throughout the day. So we saw basically this morning the market's just around the flat line. The futures were up a couple points, down a couple points, and this is about pre-market. This is before the market opens, the choppiness, but it's all favoring a flat open, slightly higher even. And then what you see here basically at 9:30 is the market's dipping initially and then bouncing and going positive, kind of getting people off guard, not knowing what to expect. Of course, InTheMoneyStocks.com had talked about a fall, and I'm going to show you something here on the SPY chart. We actually pointed out in the chat room a head and shoulders formation that told us this fall was going to happen this morning, and it sure came to fruition. I can only tell you that, and I'll show you that in the chart shortly. So what we saw now early in the day was that, remember how we've been talking about this light volume lately and how much the light volume has been kind of giving us a caution flag that the up move has stalled out here and we may be setting up for a down move. Well, all throughout the morning, even as we were kind of trickling down, and you saw a little bit of a move down here, a sideways move, this is all on light volume. Look at the volume down here. All right, no volume in this market. And again, what we saw is as soon as the market really started to sell off, and again, you had another drop here and a sideways pattern, but right here, where the market really fell off the cliff, volume came in. And look at these volume candles. Huge volume, selling pressure. This is big guys unloading, folks, as we've been talking about, obviously. And in yesterday's up move, we also felt that, and I mentioned this in yesterday's video, that the big boys were unloading there and obviously taking profits, trying to get the little guy to jump on board. And we always caution, try not to be that little guy, an amateur. But in any case, you saw the hard selling come in here. The markets really sell off on heavy volume and close down very sizably across the board on all indexes. Now, we saw oil moving higher again today, and I'm going to go touch on that in a little bit, but I think that spooked the markets a little bit. And we've been talking about how this run got too far ahead of itself and how people are forgetting that the economy still is borderline recession. I happen to feel that we are in a recession already. And you have these commodity prices that are just sky high, and that's going to kill the little guy out there. The middle class, the lower class. It may not affect the high class, the upper class, but nonetheless, it is hurting the small guy out there who has to drive every day to work a half an hour and has to buy food for him and his family out there. It's tough. So again, we felt that the market was getting ahead of itself, and this is beginning to reflect it today in the fall. We do, as you guys know, we are anticipating continued selling over the next few weeks in the market. But I want to preempt this by saying, guys, yes, we do anticipate further selling in the markets, but that doesn't mean you're not going to have an up day here, a down day here, a little jockeying for position, a flat day, and so forth. So nothing ever goes straight up, nothing ever goes straight down, but this does seem to be the sell-off we've been talking about. Now let's take a look at that intraday ES chart, and I want to point out this head and shoulders we saw. So here's today. This is where today starts, and here's yesterday. Look at this head and shoulder pattern here that we saw in the markets, and we pointed out immediately as soon as we saw it. There's the head, your shoulder, and your head here. All right, and erase that there. You got your head right here, and your other shoulder right here in the markets. All right, beautiful head and shoulder formation, and you basically draw the neckline right across like that. A break of that neckline and basically tells you that you're going to have a hard sell in the markets. And sure enough, look at the sell-off you got after we broke that head and shoulders on the intraday chart. As we did sell off, we came into support here, and I want to show you on the 60-minute chart how we came into some support levels right over here. And this is where we knew the market was probably going to end in this general area because we came into some strong support. I'm going to flip to the 60-minute to show you. Alright, we are now looking at the 60-minute chart, and what I'm going to show you here is yesterday's low. Remember yesterday how we had gapped lower and then we had rallied the rest of the day? Well, that gap down area is going to be support for the markets, and you can see how the market kind of stalled out right around here. You got a dip below, but you couldn't close below it, and we basically closed on that line. So you have to look back. Sometimes you switch time frames, and in themoneystocks.com, and we all in the Money Stocks that are running the company, we all believe that you have to look at the big picture. You can't just focus in on one small detail. You need to see many, many details to get a better picture, and this is one. You want to flip to that 60-minute chart, see the support line there, understand that may be where the market ends the day or where there's going to be big support. Now, should that break, well, then you're talking about another sizable possibility of a fall, but let's not jump ahead of ourselves. This is going to remain as good support. We'll see if it breaks lower tomorrow. But again, there's a very good possibility we may see more selling tomorrow, but there's also a good possibility we'll have a flat day tomorrow, or even possibly a small up day tomorrow. So there's multiple ways to look at this, but you need to understand that the fall looks like it has started, but nothing goes straight down. You guys know how after a big move, we often talk about a pause day. That's a very good possibility for tomorrow. We'll continue to monitor this over the next few days as well. But again, the other thing I want to point out on the 60-minute chart, look at the M pattern. And again, this is why we had pointed out why we thought the market was still going to sell among many, many other reasons. And again, we look at so many different reasons and so many different calculations and proprietary analysis and so forth. But you can see the M pattern formation there. Basically, you have a double top in right here as well. There's a double top there, an M formation. And again, we're going to see maybe we get a small little A pattern before another flush lower. We'll have to continue to monitor this, again, as I said, over the next few days to see what patterns emerge on this 60-minute chart. But again, look at the volume here. On the 60-minute chart, look at the size of these candles compared to the rest of the day, compared to yesterday, compared to the day before, and so forth, going back all the way until these two mega candles right here on the SPY where you had huge volume, again on the sell side. The fact that these red candles are the biggest candles out there is another alert system that we also found and have been monitoring. So that's enough for now. Let's switch to the daily chart of the SPY so we can kind of see what's going on. And again, we have the market having a monster move all the way up in this general direction from this call up at In the Money Stocks on the move. And you see how it's topping out. It's topping out here. You had a gap up and a sell-off, then the small down move, then the up move to fake out the amateurs again. And it never took out the high. Note that. The high from the gap up day on Friday never got taken out yesterday. And you had a reversal candle here, a red reversal candle, taking out the whole green candle yesterday, and the move down. And again, psychological levels yesterday on the rally. People went bullish very, very fast, and that was another signal to us that this is not over. You have mega resistance right up here at the 200 moving average. And again, we're going to have to monitor where this goes, but we will do calculations to find out the depth of this sell-off. And again, as I always stress, guys, it doesn't mean that every day is going to be a sell here. There's going to be up days, there's going to be down days, so be ready. And you just want to just jump on the trend. Just as if you went long here, you had a couple red days in here, but over the course, you made some good money. All right? So keep that in mind. Flipping over to the NASDAQ daily, same type of deal here. You had the up move yesterday, which was we were up about 19 points. And the NASDAQ, well, guess what? Today down 45. Big drop there, taking out the whole green candle. And we'll continue to watch this to see where we could possibly go over the next couple weeks as we continue to think the markets will come in here a little bit. Let's just take a look here. Yesterday I noted Google, Baidu had little down days, looked like they were topping out. Well, Google was down $7 today. Look at the run, guys. This is worrisome to us. When we see a move this big in a stock, I don't care if it's Google or XYZ, you have to pull back a little bit. And that's another signal. There's so many signals out there that we use to calculate. But Baidu, another example. Monstrous moves. Apple. Now Apple was even more. Look at the size of this move on Apple from this area to this area. It was actually up a little bit today and then sold off and reversed and down $4 on the day. But this, at some point we always talk about the 20 moving average being home, how you have to come back to that. Apple is extended and probably needs to come back to that 20, although it will be choppy along the way. Nothing's a sure bet here with Apple. Apple's a strong stock, and people are anticipating it running all the way up until the 3G phone gets available. But I don't even know about that. It's factored in a lot of good news at this stage already. All right. In any case, folks, that's enough for today. Keeping a close eye on oil here. The USO was closing in on $100. You can see the USO chart. This is a very toppy chart here, and we do expect it to top out over the next day or two and fall very, very soon. Have a wonderful day. We will be back in touch tomorrow's video. Come join the chat room. Come join the Swing Trade Alerts. Email us with questions. We'll do our best to get back to you. Have a wonderful afternoon, and we'll see you tomorrow. Take care.